What could possibly make the ever-composed Hyun Bin break down in tears right in front of a crowd? A single unexpected gesture from his wife, Sun Ye-jin, stopped everyone in their tracks and sent shockwaves through the entire Baeksang Awards night. What exactly happened? Why did it leave even seasoned stars speechless? Let's uncover the emotional, dramatic truth right now with Hidden Korea. The 61st Baeksang Arts Awards had just come to an end. Flashing lights, red carpet glamour, and a constellation of Korea's top stars had turned the evening into a spectacle of elegance. Winners smiled brightly for cameras, and the energy of celebration still lingered in the air. But just as the crowd began to disperse and as most assumed the night's biggest surprises were over, Sun Ye-jin did something no one saw coming, and it moved her husband Hyun Bin to tears. The moment unfolded, not on the main stage, not under the spotlight, but in a narrow pathway behind the venue, just past the chaos of the press zone. It was there, in a place where stars typically retreat from the public eye, that the most unforgettable scene of the evening took place. A night of mixed emotions. Earlier that night, Sun Ye-jin had won the Best Actress award for her heartbreaking performance in Autumn's Last Letter. The crowd erupted in applause. She looked stunning in a custom pearl-white gown, her elegance unmatched as she delivered a humble and emotional acceptance speech. She thanked her fans, her director, her co-stars. But not once did she mention Hyun Bin, who had quietly attended the event, seated in the audience without a nomination this year. While many noticed his subtle presence, few paid much attention to him throughout the night. It was Sun Ye-jin's evening, and she shone brighter than ever. But as the ceremony wrapped up and celebrities began exiting in waves of flashing lights and bodyguards, one figure lingered behind the crowd, standing quietly near a black car parked in the shadows. It was Hyun Bin, waiting, watching. No cameras followed him, no red carpet lined his path. He had clapped for his wife, smiled for her victories. But now he stood alone behind the velvet curtain of stardom, the gesture that stunned everyone. What happened next felt like a scene from a cinematic love story. Only it was real. Sun Ye-jin had already passed the exit gate, surrounded by staff and security, walking with confidence in her high heels, her trophy in hand. The paparazzi had already turned their lenses elsewhere. But suddenly, she stopped. Her eyes scanned the crowd, and then, without a word, she slipped off her designer heels. To the shock of her team, she stepped onto the cold pavement barefoot and ran, her pearl gown trailing behind her, her feet bare against the gravel. She pushed past a stunned assistant and darted into the shadows toward the man who had been silently waiting. The cameras missed the first second of the moment, but the witnesses didn't. She reached him, threw her arms around him from behind, and whispered something no one could hear. "Thank you for always standing behind me, even when the world forgets." The crowd that had followed her froze. Silence replaced the noise. Hyun Bin turned slowly, his eyes already filled with tears. For a man known for his stoic presence and composure, it was a rare moment of vulnerability, and then in front of everyone he cried. Tears fell down his cheeks as he held her close. There was no pretense, no performance, only raw emotion. And for that brief moment it wasn't about awards or fame or headlines, it was about love, quiet devotion, and the bond that had endured more than a decade under the harsh light of fame. Public reactions. This was more powerful than any movie. The images spread like wildfire within minutes. Fans flooded social media, stunned not just by Sun Ye-jin's spontaneous gesture, but by the deep, unspoken story behind it. This wasn't just a hug. It was her way of saying, "You matter too." Hyun Bin supported her silently all night. That moment was her stage for him. She didn't just win Best Actress, she reminded the world what real love looks like. Celebrities who witnessed the moment firsthand also took to social media to share their reactions. "I saw it with my own eyes." She took off her shoes and ran to him barefoot. "It gave me chills." "A fellow nominee," Hyun Bin cried. And everyone around him cried too. That wasn't just a romantic gesture. That was history. To the public, Sun, Ye-jin and Hyun Bin are Korea's golden couple, picture perfect, successful and admired across continents. But beneath the glamour lies a relationship that has been repeatedly tested by distant scrutiny and the pressures of maintaining perfection in the harsh light of celebrity culture. Behind-the-scenes insiders have long whispered of the quiet sacrifices Hyun Bin made for Sun Ye-jin's career revival, especially after her 2023 hiatus following her son's birth. When she decided to make her acting comeback, many assumed it would be with Hyun Bin by her side, perhaps in a romantic drama that would cash in on their real-life chemistry. But instead, he chose to step back. He turned down multiple offers, delayed personal projects, and most notably refused public interviews about his own work simply to ensure that her spotlight remained hers. He wanted her return to be about her talent, not their love story, said a close friend of the couple who spoke anonymously. He sat silently in the shadows so she could shine freely. And shine she did. Sun Ye-jin's role in Autumn's Last Letter was not just critically acclaimed, it was a comeback of mythic proportions. Her emotionally raw portrayal of a woman haunted by motherhood and loss struck a national chord. Yet few knew that the very pain she portrayed on screen was drawn from real emotions. The pain of almost losing herself while trying to be everything: a mother, a wife, and an icon. In this light, the gesture after Baeksang wasn't just romantic. It was an emotional homecoming, a return to the man who had waited, supported, and never asked for thanks until she gave it in the most unforgettable way. The crowd that witnessed history. Among those present when the scene unfolded were production assistants, media crews packing up their gear, and a few junior actors who lingered behind, hoping for one last moment of inspiration. What they saw wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't planned. It wasn't PR. I thought I was watching the ending scene of a movie. But it was real. I'll never forget it. One stage crew member posted on Instagram, including a blurred snapshot of the hug. Another reporter confessed that although she had already filed her Baeksang article, she reopened her laptop just to write a second one, just about that moment. Even veteran MC Shin Dong-yup, who had already left the venue, commented the next day on his radio show, "In all my years hosting award shows, I've seen tears and kisses on stage. But what Sun Ye-jin did after the lights turned off, that's the real award-winning moment." Rumors swirl a deeper meaning behind the gesture. Though the public was swept away by the emotional scene, some insiders suggest that there may have been more to Sun Ye-jin's gesture than meets the eye. A manager close to the couple hinted at recent tension between the two, stemming from the pressures of balancing family life and public careers. According to sources, Hyun Bin had been contemplating a long break from acting to focus on raising their child, but kept the decision private. That hug might have been more than love. It might have been her way of saying, "I understand, and I'm ready to walk with you, even barefoot." Could this explain the barefoot moment? Was it symbolic? A shedding of fame? A return to simplicity? A nod to the journey they're choosing together, far from the flashbulbs? A moment that redefined what love looks like in Korean entertainment. In an industry that often prioritizes appearances over authenticity, Sun Ye-jin and Hyun Bin offered something rare: vulnerability. And they did it not on stage, but in the grey area where fame and humanity meet. The image of a woman in a designer gown running barefoot toward her husband, not for cameras, not for applause, but for love, is now permanently etched in the memory of Korean pop culture. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't polished, but it was real. And sometimes the most powerful scenes are the ones no one planned to film. Final thoughts, the aftermath, and what it means going forward. Since the moment exploded, online global media outlets from Japan to the US have picked up the story. Fans have begun creating artwork and fan videos titled "Barefoot for Love," and hashtags like #Ye-jin Gesture and #Hyun Bin Tears are trending in over 15 countries. As for the couple, they've remained characteristically silent. No press conferences, no social media updates, just a quiet reappearance a day later, hand in hand at Incheon Airport, smiling as if nothing had happened. But for those who saw it and those who felt it through a screen, everything had changed. The 2025 Baeksang Awards may have ended with trophies and speeches, but its most enduring legacy will be a barefoot woman in love, reminding the world that even at the height of fame, the truest spotlight is the one we turn toward each other.